This video is produced by EasyPathUni in coordination with Yazan, Ibrahim. In this lesson, we're covering utilizing ISO 37000-2021 for strategic alignment. So let me ask you this. In a world that feels more chaotic by the day, how do you make sure your company's strategy is more than just a document that gathers dust? How do you turn it into a real, powerful engine for success? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're going to use the ISO 37000 framework to show you how to truly align your strategy for the modern world. You ready? Let's get into it. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about this crazy Bonnie world we're all trying to make sense of. Then we'll look at how to flip governance from being a total pain into a strategic powerhouse. We'll break down the key principles of ISO 37000, show you how to actually use them in your strategy, and finally, uncover the serious competitive advantage you get from doing all this. Sound good? First up, navigating the Bonnie world. You know, the old way of doing things, making these neat 5-year plans, it just doesn't cut it anymore. The reality we're facing now is, well, it's a completely different ballgame. So, you've probably heard of VUCA, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. For a long time, that was the buzzword, but honestly, it doesn't quite capture the feeling anymore. Now we're talking about a Bonnie world. And what does that mean? Well, B is for brittle. Things seem fine one minute and completely shatter the next. A is for anxious. There's this constant hum of what if that we all feel. N is for nonlinear. You do A and you expect B, but suddenly Z happens. Cause and effect are all out of whack. And I is for incomprehensible. We have more data than ever, but making sense of it all, it's overwhelming. So yeah, in a world like this, just having a plan isn't enough, not even close. You need a different kind of framework. So, if the world is that chaotic, what's the answer? How do we even begin to operate? Believe it or not, the answer is governance. I know. When you hear that word, you probably think of boring rules and compliance checklists. But we need a major mindset shift here. It's time to stop seeing governance as a burden and start seeing it as the very engine that can power you through this chaos. And ISO 37000, well, that's the blueprint for building that engine. And this slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the old school view. Governance is just overhead. It's reactive, it's a cost center, it's a bottleneck that slows everything down. Ugh. But on the right, that's where the magic happens. Governance becomes strategic. It's proactive. It's about creating value. It's an investment that enables you to move faster and smarter. It's the difference between thinking, oh, we have to do this compliance stuff, and wow, this is actually how we get ahead of the competition. And this quote really hits the nail on the head. ISO 37000 isn't just another static checklist to tick off. Think of it as a dynamic, universal framework. It's not a rulebook, it's a playbook. It is, like it says here, a powerful strategic engine. And that's the key takeaway. We're not just aiming for compliance, we're building a machine that drives smart, ethical, and sustainable success. Okay, so we keep talking about this engine, but what makes it run? What are the parts? Well, it all comes down to a set of core governance principles. These are the building blocks, the foundational pieces you're going to use to build a strategy that can actually withstand the pressures of the Bonnie world. Let's take a look at the first couple. All right, principles 1 and 2. First up, purpose and value generation. This is your why. It's your North Star. Why does your organization even exist? Every single strategic decision should be filtered through that question. If it doesn't align with your purpose, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Get this right and you create real, sustainable value for everybody involved. Then you have strategy and oversight. This one's about having a smart plan for sure, but, and this is key, it's also about watching it like a hawk and being ready to pivot. It's like setting out on a road trip with a great GPS, but also keeping your eyes on the road for unexpected detours. Okay, moving on to principles 3 and 4. We've got accountability and transparency. This is huge. It simply means people know what they're supposed to do, and they actually do it. No finger pointing. And you're open about your operations, which builds trust both inside and outside the company. It's exactly like a championship sports team. Every player knows their role and executes it flawlessly. Then we have ethical conduct and capability. This one's twofold. First, you've got to play fair and do the right thing. But second, you need to have the skills, the resources, and the agility to actually pull off your strategy. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your team isn't capable of executing it, it's just a piece of paper. And our last two principles, proportionality and stewardship. Proportionality is just common sense, really. It means your level of governance should fit your organization. You don't need the same bureaucratic processes for a 5-person startup as you do for a multinational giant. It's about being smart, not just adding rules for the sake of it. And stewardship. This is about thinking long-term. It's recognizing that you're a caretaker of the organization's resources, its reputation, its future. The goal isn't just to have a good quarter, it's to make sure the company is healthy and thriving for generations to come. All right, we've got the principles down, but look, principles are just words on a page until you put them to work. So the big question is, how do we actually weave these ideas into the fabric of our strategy? Let's get practical. Think about how strategy usually works. It's a cycle, right? First, you have that spark, the big idea. That's your strategic intent. Then you hunker down and build the actual plan, the roadmap. That's development and design. After that comes the hard part, making it happen, the day-to-day grind of implementation. And finally, you have to step back, check your progress, and see what's working and what's not. That's your monitoring and adaptation phase. It's a loop. Now let's overlay our principles onto this cycle. And here is where it all clicks into place. See how this works? Right at the beginning, when you're just formulating your intent, that's where purpose and value are absolutely critical. Your why has to be the foundation. Then, as you develop the strategy, you're focused on the how. Is the plan solid? Do we have the capability to do it? During execution, it's all about accountability and stewardship. Who owns what? Are we using our resources wisely? And finally, in the monitoring phase, oversight and transparency are key. We have to watch our progress honestly and be open about the results. It's not a one-off thing, it's a continuous integrated loop.
So what's the bottom line here? It's simple, really. When you stop treating governance as a separate, annoying task and you bake it into your strategy, like this, it transforms. It becomes your strategic advantage. This is how you turn principles on a slide into real, measurable performance in the market.
All right, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. What do you absolutely need to remember? Number 1, ISO 37000 isn't about red tape. It's a strategic tool. It turns governance from a burden into an advantage. Number 2, the principles we talked about, that's your playbook for making smart decisions. 3, the real magic happens when you integrate these principles into your entire strategic cycle, from idea to execution and back again. And finally, and maybe most importantly, good governance isn't just about defense and avoiding risk. It's about offense. It's how you build a resilient organization that creates sustainable value for the long haul. Okay, before we go, I want to leave you with a practical challenge. Don't just let this be theory. Think about a major strategic decision your company made in the last year or so. Maybe a new product, a merger, a big internal change, whatever it is. Now, ask yourself honestly, if we had applied these principles more rigorously, if we had really grilled ourselves on purpose, on accountability, on stewardship, could the outcome have been better? Could we have sidestepped a problem we ran into? I really want you to think about that. Even better, take that question to your next team meeting. Spark a conversation. I think you'll be amazed at what you uncover.